Pulvinaka. This is Paul Morel from the Man Empowerment Network, and I'm shouting out to you today in this on this topic on gender-based violence, the 16 days activism, and I'm shouting out on behalf of the Man Empowerment Network. Today in society, we look at how society's view on men on gender-based violence. We look at it and we see that. Gender-based violence, many times society approaches it looking at the statistics, and we usually approach it from a viewpoint that is basing it from mostly from the female perspective, most especially when it comes to gender-based violence. We look at it that the statistics says that 90% of the victims are females. If you do the maths, you'll find out if 90% are females, that means 90% of the perpetrators are males. And society usually looks at it through the female perspective. And over the last few decades that we've been doing this, we've been approaching it through the female's perspective. The reason for this video is a challenge to society and to the mindset of and the viewpoint of society. We like to challenge them to look at it instead of focusing it on the female's perspective or on the victim's perspective, to look at it on why is this crime happening and why is the male man committing this crime. You know, in the last 5 months, in the span of 5 months, we had 8 victims. 8 females lost their lives. Few days ago, we had the stabbing incident in Samambula. And this in itself is what is happening in our society. And it's happening, and the main perpetrators, the person who's causing this crime, are the males. Right? So the question that we like to ask is, why haven't these perpetrators, why haven't we looked at how these perpetrators operate? And why are they perpetrating? Why are they committing these crimes of violence? And what is the cause of it? Because we at the Men Empowerment Network, we believe in order to curb gender-based violence, each man, first of all, we need to find out that each man needs to know their own job description. Know what is your calling as a man. Why are you called to be a father? Why are you called to be a husband, as a male, as a brother? You know, once you know your job description, and I guarantee you, in a male man's job description, this is one of our trainings that we will roll out in 2020. The job description of the male man, nowhere does it state that you need to physically abuse your wife, your spouse, your children, or those around you. You know, violence is not part of the man's job description. And these perpetrators, why are they doing this? That is what we have to look at. Many times I followed this media news, and we see that the social media, the crimes of this that has happened, where society crucifies the perpetrators, you know, and they sympathize with the victims. The second part, sympathizing with the victims, is fine, but when you crucify the perpetrators, it is we are barking up the wrong tree. I think we know that in order to find the cause, why is that person perpetrating, that is more effective. Why did these 8 men, why did they take the lives of their loved ones? Why? How did they operate? What is operating? What is running in the background of these men's minds right now? You know, and as I speak to you now, and as I throw out this challenge to you, somewhere in Fiji right now, there's a man who's going through certain emotional problems right now, challenges, and it's boiling up in him. You know, it's boiling and it's boiling. It'll come to a point where it'll explode. And in Fiji alone, we have 20 plus women organizations, right? Women organizations or NGOs. We have 20 plus. And how many do we have for the males? You know, some of you have never heard of the Men Empowerment Network, will say none. There's only one, and that's the Men Empowerment Network. We are a registered NGO that is here to hear the problems and to deal with issues that are challenged, that men are challenged with every day. You know, right now, that person who is boiling up inside of him right now, you know, I'm speaking to that person right now, you know, find us, look on Facebook, get onto our page, contact us, and talk about it. We've had many men who have approached us in the last few months, and it is really satisfying for them to know that there's an avenue, there's a platform where they can come and share their issues and their problems. And when they found out also that they are not the only one who are going through these problems, because male men, most of the time, we go through life feeling these emotions, filling it up and bottling up, filling up the jar, and closing it and closing it. We don't open up, and eventually that'll explode. And when it does explode, our very loved ones will suffer. You know, sometimes men turn to violence, sometimes men turns to substance abuse. When they are misbehaving as such, we can use the term man is malfunctioning. You know, man is malfunctioning basically means that men are not doing what they are made to do. They are not doing what they are supposed to be doing, or what their main function is. You know, so that is why our challenge to the authorities, we call it to the authorities. You know, we have approached gender-based violence through the female and from the female's perspective, which is well and good, but we are challenging authorities, change that viewpoint. We need to approach gender-based violence through the male man, through the male man. And the best way to look at it is not is to be also proactive, counsel, find out why they're perpetrating, and also train young men to become better individuals. We have a training coming up in December called later on this month, the Ravovo program, and this one is for young boys aged between 13 and 19. We talk to them about anger management. We raise issues about time management, about emotional intelligence, about opening up, about sharing, and this is what we bring to them. We offer to them on the table at this training. So because in the next 7 to 10 years, these young boys, they'll become fathers, they'll become husbands, they'll become leaders in their families. So we fully equip them. So our shout out today to society is that change our mindset, change our viewpoint. Authorities, you need to change your viewpoint. We need to look at it through the man's perspective. Why is the male man operating in such a way? Because if a man is hitting his wife, therefore he's basically malfunctioning. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Our shout out to men out there. You have never heard of the Men Empowerment Network? Well, I tell you, we are here. We are wanting to listen and hear your problems. Bring it to us, talk to us about it, and share it with us. And we'd like our slogan and our challenge to Fiji to remember that a better man will make a better family, will make a better nation. So to all men out there, the Men Empowerment Network, check our page out on Facebook. We are here for you. Violence is never the solution. Vinaka.